Hey guys, welcome to Clockwork Noodles. I hope you're having a fantastic week. Welcome to the chill out zone. We are discussing the second episode of Bartender 2024. I have also just realised after finishing that episode what the remake is missing. And it is actually the end bit where they'd normally make the cocktail. They'd actually have the real thing right at the end for you to see. But that is besides the point. I hope you're looking after yourselves. We're here to break down the second episode. It's a very clever episode and it did actually bring back memories. I didn't know this one as much because it wasn't as fresh on my brain. But a great episode nonetheless. So let's break it down. This week's episode is divided into two stories. However, all the stories have a nice little connection. It's not just a standalone story if you catch the drift on, especially the first half. As a retail worker, I will have to say, tough customers, sometimes like this, they definitely do grind my gears. Normally, I would just button up and just get on with it. However, I will say that the bartender this week has so much more patience than we do. I just feel like the guy's really mean, but it does make sense. You know, just say what you want. Sometimes I just feel like some of these situations could just be solved by people just saying what it is that they want. But that wouldn't make an interesting anime. So let's discuss how our boy actually handles the situation. It's nice to actually see him, especially after the first episode, because you have a idea in your head that he's perfect and he's the perfect bartender. But you'll see this week that he's actually not. His stuff isn't up to scratch, or if he's not in it, or he's not actually thinking about the customer, or he doesn't really know about the customer, he can still make the standard stuff that the guy wasn't happy with. And you see he just turns his nose up at a lot of different stuff. We do get to see the ongoing link throughout all of the episodes as the hotel job. So we've got the girls still trying to chase him. This week we get a bit more information on the hotel situation as well. And of course, this first chunk definitely bodes in, without even being that obvious, that this is also part of the situation. Because I think you do see the old guy in episode 1, but I think it's like he's there. He tells her to find someone and walks out. So I think he's like vaguely in the episode. What would you do if somebody told you that all the drinks that you served were just awful? Now, obviously, there are like two responses. One is just tell them to do one, go away. If it's not good enough, go somewhere else. Or there's what our boy does. It's the peace route. Try asking them or try and work out exactly why. Why is what I'm serving not hitting the notes for you? What's going wrong? For me, as a retail worker, I found it really infuriating, but I can see both sides. But oh my goodness, I have been there. You can't say anything, gritting your teeth going, okay, that's cool, I understand. It is interesting to see that the ramen shop guy was about to actually answer the question and the girls obviously get in the way. I am still curious to what the ramen guy would have said, because he does go, well, what would you do if, everything you were selling was just considered awful? And I feel like it is improve. I think the notion of the episode is you would always try improving. You would find out exactly what's wrong, what's not working out, and then try and fix it. Unlike me, our boy, our lovely bartender, he ends up deciding that actually I'm going to find out exactly what it is that's not going right. When did you first come to the bar? I know that you came to the bar in this period of time. What was the time period like? What kind of alcohol was being served? And then he goes into the details. Obviously, he goes above and beyond to give perfect customer service. I'm pretty sure a lot of companies probably want this anime to show perfect customer service to their employees, but it is a nice example of going above and beyond. And obviously, the link going back to the hotel is very, very clever, because the old guy essentially is her grandfather. And the eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed in the pictures that when he was sat at the bar with the woman, she looks awfully like our main girl who is trying to employ him. It's just a nice little clever link that when you go back, you go, oh yeah, that's how it is. It's just a very clever little story. It doesn't do too much. Obviously, the story is simplistic, but it doesn't need to be a lot. The story of Bartender has always been one about the heart. And I think that's why I really do connect with the show in particular. It's not doing a great deal, but it impacts you in a way where you can relate. For me, I'm relating to him dealing with these tough situations, or a second half where she's like hating life, but actually you find out about the meaning of the drink, and actually you do learn something from the anime in particular. But it is certainly an episode of very tough customers, very hard to please customers. And sometimes life is like that. And it's interesting to see how our boy tackles those customers. The second half of the episode, which I think is very, very clever, is all about our lawyer friend. Super clever. I mean, we've obviously got the girls again trying to pester our boy to come work for us, but he's not having any of it. He's got his own personal reasons. I can't even remember what they are. So not even lying, I don't remember what those reasons are, but I think you do find out at some point this season. I just can't remember what the reasons are. So that's going to be a nice surprise for all of us. It's been 15 years. I don't really remember too much of the anime, just certain parts, because the anime's always stuck with me. It's got a special place in my heart, and it's why I actually recommended it to you guys on the Clockwork Rewinds. I don't think people were convinced by my initial breakdown for episode 1, but it really is just a show that has stuck with me over the years, despite the fact I've watched, apparently according to Mal, 920 anime. It's a show that's always stuck out in my brain. It is one that I think it's just special, something special about it. You do get to learn a lot as well with the show, where he starts to teach you about the bull shot. I never knew that you could make a drink like that. This is somebody who doesn't really drink very much, as I said last week, but I am curious because I kind of want to try this. It's a soup, but it's got alcohol in it. It's not like when I was 16 maybe and I went to a sleepover. My friend tried to make vodka jelly. We were kids, we didn't really know much about it. We put it in water, put it in the jelly, and all of the vodka basically sunk to the bottom because it's heavy. So we essentially had these water cubes with a very strong little bit right at the edge. It was horrible. I just remember them being god awful. This looks great, and the fact that you can even turn it into a bloody bull shot as well, where he says you can add tomato, you can add in some lemon. Honestly, the first drink I actually have gone, I really want to try it, but I don't imagine many places in the UK would sell it because he had to go to a kitchen to actually get hold of the soup stocks. I don't know whether that's just a specialist one. I'd need to have a look. Plus, he did say it was American. So maybe it's the case that I'd have to go to the States to try it. And speaking of the States, I am surrounded by American snacks and drinks at the moment because I had a low moment. I guess when I get really depressed, I end up ordering a lot of junk. And I'm not going to call it junk, it's my precious, but I am surrounded by all of these American snacks, which I can't get in the UK, especially with the American links this week as well. Also, the knowledge about what it means to have one for the road. I remember the one for the road bit because I think in the original, it was kind of bad English, but it's all about toasting the bad part of yourself. You have a bad day, you go in and have this drink, and the one for the road is to say goodbye to that bad part of yourself. It's the part of you that's just not you when you're hungry, you know? That part of you that needs to grab a Snickers. If you're in the UK, you know what that means. If you're in America, you have no clue. It's that part of like saying goodbye to that inner bitch. You know, I've been a douche. I'm going to have this drink to forget and hopefully pep myself up. I love the fact as well that the drink makes her feel warm because that's what she needed. She needed warming up. It's an interesting customer because she does technically come out and call him just an a-hole, which I guess everyone is kind of an a-hole at times, but she's a very tough customer, and I don't remember liking her initially, but she's kind of funny now. I appreciate it. At least he appreciates it as well. He does end on another firm rejection to our girls. This time, I am afraid of heights, which is a very believable one, especially when they're asking him to go top floor of the bar. But that's when they find out that he kind of lied, wool over their eyes, because he technically came from a bar where the bar was on the top floor. So obviously, he's still not telling the truth. He just wants to get them off his back, which you kind of can't blame him. The guy said no a few times. Kind of need to take the answer, though. But the first half obviously comes round when you find out it's her granddad, and now we've got a second backer trying to get him into the hotel. Everybody wanting this guy now in the hotel. So will it happen? Will our boy eventually cave? Now, there's 2 stories this week I just find are fascinating, and the moral of this week's episode is there's 2 sides to every story. And especially in the first one, where you could have gone, you know, if you don't like it, go somewhere else, or you take time to understand what you're dealing with. There's 2 ways of dealing with that. The second one, especially where the drink has 2 meanings and the story has 2 meanings. There's a novel, there's also the drink. Very, very clever. And it's an episode where you've got to be reading between the lines. Story with enough depth for it to be quite entertaining, and I guess that's why I like this show, guys. I really enjoy it. It's just a very good episode. I like the ongoing links. I like the flow. I really like the cozy lighting within the bar. I think that's really, really nice. Obviously, the hotel doesn't have the same lighting. If you notice that the hotel lighting is a bit more whiter, and they're not using that calming light. They're using a bit more of a blue spectrum just to make it feel a bit more cold, a bit more upbeat, modern, posh, that kind of vibe. Eventually find out why our bartender is so reluctant to join the hotel. We'll find out. And will we find out more about Edenhall and the previous owner, because he keeps getting mentioned. So be very interesting to see about that. I hope you guys are looking after yourselves. This is the chill zone, and we're going to tune in each week, chill out and relax, because sometimes you just need a chill episode when there's monsters and kaiju running around. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye, guys.